The carbon wheel market has reached an all-time high with so many companies producing so many high-quality products. And now, don't get me wrong, that is amazing for us consumers. That means that the price is very competitive across the board, and that means that the barrier to entry is so much lower than it used to be. I remember hearing stories from people that tell me like, oh, I used to train on alloy wheels and my carbon wheels were just my race wheels. Like, that is pretty much unheard of nowadays. There's 6 bikes in this room that I'm standing in right now, guys, and every single bike in here has a set of carbon wheels. Every bike that you buy nowadays has a set of carbon wheels, so that is very, very unheard of. So as far as for us consumers, that is amazing. But now, think about if you were a new cyclist in 2024, or let's say you're trying to buy your first set of carbon wheels. Now, that can be such a daunting task. Before, you would only worry about, okay, what rim depth am I looking for? 50, 55, 60? Boom, go ahead, buy it, you're done. Nowadays, with the trend moving towards running wider tires, so it's a more comfortable feel, a more comfortable ride. Now you gotta worry about things like not just the rim depth, but what is the inner width, what is the outer width for that aerodynamic benefits of the rim. Now, do you want carbon spokes? Do you want steel spokes? Do you want ceramic bearings on the hubs, or do you want steel bearings on the hubs? Do you want a DT style ratchet hub, or do you want a pull system? So you can see how quickly that can become such a daunting task for a new rider. And that is a good problem to have. And in this video, I tested a wheel set that I really want to show you guys because I think it's one of the greatest options out there as far as price or dollar to performance ratio. I've had the pleasure of working with a few companies this year, and one of them is Magene. They're a company based out of China that develops not only good quality cycling products, but at an incredible value. They first sent me their PES power meter to test, and I was very impressed with the quality, but more importantly, its accuracy. There's going to be a discount code below if you guys want to go and check it out. But in this video, I specifically want to talk about their new Ultra Dark wheel set. I am genuinely excited to share my experiences so far. I put around 3,000 miles on these wheels since they first sent them to me, and my experience has been great. This wheel set comes in 2 options, a more aero 50 to 55 millimeter, meaning 50 millimeter deep front and a 55 rear. And they're also come in a 40 to 45, so 40 millimeter front and a 45 millimeter rear, which is the one that I decided to go for, and I'll explain why in a second. The price of these wheels are very, very competitive for the quality that you're getting, coming in at 999 USD at the time of me making this video. But even better, if you use my code DG10, it will save you an extra 10%. The weight is also very good, coming in at 1,305 grams for the 40-45 option and 1,390 for the 50-55 option. Few key features that I like about these wheels is the carbon spokes, which I had never had before, the non-removable decals, as well as the DT Swiss ratchet style hubs. I heard that DT Swiss does not own the patent for this style hubs anymore, so other manufacturers are taking advantage of this and using it on their own wheels, which is awesome for us consumers because replacement parts are very easy to find, very cheap, and this system honestly is just very true and tested. It is very reliable, a lot more than the pulse system, at least in my opinion. Before I share my thoughts on these wheels, I want to talk about how exactly I set them up and how I've been running them throughout this whole test periods. For the 3,000 plus miles that I tested this wheel set for, they have been set up tubeless with 30 millimeter Conti GP 5000s, which on these wheels with the 23 millimeter internal and a 30 millimeter external, they measure out to exactly 30 millimeters, which is perfect, while running them at 53 PSI front and 58 PSI rear, and I'm around 72 kilograms just for reference. And these are hooked rims as well. Something I mentioned on my tubeless setup video was the fact that although Magene does include tubeless rim tape and a valve, I really wish that it came already installed on the wheels. The only reason I can come up with as far as why Magene is not doing it is because that will add more weight to the spec that they do provide, the 1,305 grams for the one that I'm using, or maybe it's because, you know, if someone is running tubes, they will have to add the spoke hole plugs that they provide, you know, to protect the actual tube before they install the rim tape. I guess I'm honestly not sure on why they're doing it and why it's not coming installed already, but this is something that I wish that it was done by Magene, and I did mention this on my videos before. So why did I choose to go for the 40-45 option since I live in Florida and weight is not really a concern here? Well, there's a few reasons. So the first one is that I already own so many deep sections wheels that I just wanted something different and something that I can take to the mountains when I go race there. I just did 6 gap, and that was 103 miles with 12,000 feet of climbing. And I'm also going to share a few thoughts from that trip. My first idea initially was to actually make this video there and record some cool content for you guys, but the weather was just so bad. This was just after the hurricane back in September. The weather was just absolutely terrible the entire time, so I wasn't really able to film anything while I was there. I did run this wheel set for the day and for the day of the actual event. So like I said, this was 103 miles with 12,000 feet of climbing, so it was a really big day on the bike. But this is the perfect environment for this wheel set. So my first impressions were about the stiffness of the wheels, and that was something that was very noticeable. And it was very noticeable since day one, not just when I was up there in the mountain. Where I felt that stiffness came through and it really showed was when you were like out of the saddle putting down power on the climbs. I will even say that this is easily the stiffest wheels that I ever ridden in. I'm not sure if it's due to the fact that they are shallower rims while also having carbon spokes, but it was really noticeable. The stiffness to weight of these wheels is just incredible for the price. It was very confident, inspiring as well on the descents. Even with the bad weather, I pretty much beat all my previous year's PR on all the descents. I done this Gran Fondo or race or whatever you want to call it once before, and the weather was absolutely perfect. So I beat all of my PRs even when this year the weather was absolutely terrible, the roads were wet. So like I said, it was very confidence inspiring going down the descents with these wheels. They just felt predictable, they felt stiff. I didn't feel any flex coming from them, anything that didn't give me the confidence to keep pushing on. For someone like me, this is absolutely key. I'm always seeking performance. If you aren't, then stiffness might not be something that you enjoy. If I go back to my training grounds back here in Florida, I paired this wheel set with my Gen 8 Magene, which is known to be a super stiff bike, and the ride becomes a bit harsh over like rough terrain. Is that enough to discourage me from using these wheels? Absolutely not. As I mentioned earlier, I'm all in for performance, and out of the saddle, just putting the power down, these wheels just feel like no other wheel that I've ever ridden before. And to be honest, the pavement where I ride on is not that bad, and the fact that I'm running 30mm tires set up tubeless at a lower pressure is honestly not that bad. So this wheel set might feel completely different if you're not going to be running them tubeless and you're going to be running them with tubes at a higher pressure. Like I said, it might feel different. I can only speak for what I tested, and that was with GP 5000s 30mm set up tubeless. The wheels feel stiff, but it was a good stiffness. Like you get out of the saddle and the wheels just go. Like it's actually a really good feeling. So you might still be thinking that my reasoning behind going for the 40-45mm option still doesn't make sense, but let me actually elaborate on that. So where I train here in Florida is very windy, and most of the time is actually a crosswind. And the fact that these shallower wheels just handle the wind so good, it just makes them perfect for training rides. I ride on roads where there is no bike lane, or if there is a bike lane, then it's very narrow. So the fact that I don't have to worry about the wind pushing me around or always just trying to keep a tight grip on the bars is just honestly amazing. And I don't think they're that much lower. I'll throw in a few Strava rides that I've done around here where it's completely flat, and that was just doing steady zone 2 power. Shout out to Eric from 239 Racing for this footage from a few group rides. And even on group rides, they just don't feel slow. Like I don't really feel that much difference. Let's say that they aren't as fast as 60mm or 60+mm wheels, but I just hate training on 60mm wheels. I have some Reynolds that I use that are, the front is a 58, the rear is a 62, and I honestly just hate training on those wheels. They're really good for racing, but I hate training on them because I feel like I just get thrown around a lot. And it just makes it hard to concentrate and stick to the power. And this just makes this wheel set perfect for all the kind of training I do, even though where I live is completely flat. And because they're not a super expensive, they are a really good quality, but they're not super expensive wheel set, like you don't feel as bad to have them as your training set of wheels. Something that is now so important when looking at wheels is their inner and outer rim width. And these have a 23mm internal and a 30mm external, which is at par with most new wheels out there in 2024 and probably moving on to 2025 as well. And like I mentioned before a few times, I am running this with Conti GP 5000s 30mm, and because of that inner and outer rim width, these tires on there measure exactly 30mm inflated to the PSI that I mentioned before. I also have 30mm tires on this Bond Tracker LU Pro 51s, and they balloon out to 32mm, which is not great for aerodynamics. If performance is your main worry, and that is due to the shallower inner and outer. I think these have like a 21mm internal, which nowadays nobody's buying wheels with 21mm internals anymore. So like I said, these wheels for the price and everything that you're getting, it's just a bargain. The whole entire time that I've been riding these wheels, I have done zero maintenance to them, and normally that's not something that I would do. I wouldn't ride a wheel set, you know, more than 3,000 miles without at least you know, greasing the hubs or anything like that. But obviously for testing purpose, that's exactly why I did it. So because honestly, in my opinion, there is no reason to have this super nice product that is just not reliable. To me, reliability counts more than pretty much anything else. But if something does go wrong with your wheel set, Magene does offer great warranty, not just on their wheels, but on all of their products, and their customer service is really, really good. Another question you might have is, well, since this is coming from China, how long would it take to get my wheels when I do place the order? And to be honest, I want to say when I received my tracking number from Magene, it literally took less than a week before the wheels showed up at my door. And for context, I'm in Southwest Florida, and they got delivered, I want to say, by FedEx. So it was very, very quick. All right, guys, so I feel like I've done a lot of talking so far, 11.5 minutes. So let's just wrap it up. So what are my final thoughts on these wheels? Do I recommend them? And who do I think they are for, in my own opinion? So first of all, well, it's pretty easy. Yes, I 100% recommend the wheels. They have been super, super solid in my own experiences, and from other YouTubers that I have watched that have reviewed the wheels as well. They absolutely love them. They're very reliable and maintenance free, which, like I said, is really important for myself. Not even a loose spoke, guys, in over 3,000 miles that I put on these wheels so far. So who are they for? Honestly, I would say they're for anyone looking to buy a nice set of carbon wheels that are up to date with most new technology like rim width and carbon spokes, DT style ratchet hubs at a very, very good price, which is the best you know, the best part from that. Yes, there are many options out there that are lighter and wider, but those do cost you a lot more money. So that's why you just can't go wrong with these wheels, and I would put them over a lot of those more expensive ones when it comes to dollar over performance value. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got the information that you were looking for, and if that is the case, a like and a subscribe is really, really appreciated. And if I help you make up your mind about buying these wheels, there will be a discount code in the link in the description down below, so you guys can go get this wheel set for yourself and get a little bit of discount as well. It doesn't cost you guys any extra, but it does help out the channel a little bit so I can keep reviewing more products and making videos like this for you guys. So with that being said, thanks so much, Magene, for sending these wheels out for me to test. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.